Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to another episode of D.E.I. Deathwatch, where we chronicle the downfall and the doubling down of diversity, equity, and inclusion. I'm your host, Scribelight. Welcome to Tuesday. It's, a busy Tuesday. Busy news day Tuesday. I can understand why people would not be here. There's so much other things going on right now. Robert Redford has passed away. Just had the press conference about the charges against the killer of Charlie Kirk. There was a Kash Patel Senate hearing earlier today that got into a shouting match with Adam Schiff. Oh my gosh, busy news day. Consequently, if you can believe it, over the last several days, given the events in the news cycle, DEI not exactly a priority for the news outlets. And I don't blame them. Consequently, I've only got one news story today to go over, but a couple of videos and or a podcast to listen to on the subject, just to keep things within the realm of topic. But so we'll get to those momentarily. But first, who's joining me on this beautiful Tuesday afternoon? The Alexander, good afternoon. Walter Tomaszewski, good afternoon. Listening to YouTube through some cardboard speakers that I just built this morning. They aren't high fidelity, but are good enough to use in art exhibits or photo galleries where you need audio. Scribe, you'll sound just fine through them, if you say so. Coming to you through the power of cardboard. Sure. Thank you, Walter. Kieverdam, good afternoon, and thank you, Kieverdam, as always, for providing the link to the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society donation page. Guys, that's pinned to the top of the chat box. Please take a look at that when you have the opportunity. If you can donate, please do so, but even if you can't, if you can share that out on social media, that would be appreciated. So thank you ahead of time for that. And thank you, Kieverdam, as always, for providing the link. Mike Savage, Blarg, Attack Alpaca, good afternoon. The Moist Tree Rat, hello. Miranda Stone is here. Guys, I don't know if you know about Miranda Stone, but let me tell you. Robert Pincus, good afternoon. Morgan King, hello. JPS, hello. Corey Suzuki, hello. And Daryl Brewer, good afternoon. And I think that's everybody. If I missed you, if you're lurking, if you're in the future, if you're a latecomer, good afternoon. I'll try to say hello to anybody else that might pop in the meantime. But let's start off first with our singular news story of the day. And it's one that I'm kind of taken aback by. It seems counterproductive to the entire thing, but let's read on and find out. Trump team plans to give historically black and tribal colleges $500 million in money taken from DEI program cuts. Now, when I saw this headline, I thought to myself, so wait a second, you're going to take money saved from not promoting racial or ethnic discrimination in things like education, and then give it to organizations and institutions that implicitly or otherwise promote racial discrimination or segregation, as the case may be. Okay, the Department of Education is redirecting nearly $500 million to historically black and tribal colleges and universities, despite the Trump administration's efforts to eliminate any sign of race-conscious policymaking in other parts of the government. Yeah, that's why I was kind of like, what? Say what? Also, say what? Say Jill Powers. Good afternoon, Scribelight, and all of you wonderful scribblarians. Kieverdam and Daryl Brewer. Listen to everybody. Oh my gosh. Everybody else. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Early on in my channel's history, Tailed Feature suggested I call everyone who decides to click that bell button a scriber. Not a subscriber, a scriber. I never quite caught on to that or decided to try to push it. But that was an early suggestion as to what those who decide to subscribe to my channel could be categorized as. So would you like to be a scriber? Quote, the department has carefully scrutinized our federal grants, ensuring that taxpayers are not funding racially discriminatory programs, but those programs which promote merit and excellence in education, unquote, Secretary of Education Linda McMahon said in a statement. Quote, the Trump administration will use every available tool to meaningfully advance educational outcomes and ensure every American has the opportunity to succeed in life, unquote. Then why are you giving money to institutions that, revere one particular race or ethnicity? I mean, these particular, like Howard University is one example, Kamala Harris's alma mater. They cling to this title of historically black college / university. Why? I don't, doesn't sit right. Doesn't sit right. The one-time discretionary injection of funds, will be offset by reductions to other major education initiatives elsewhere, including a $350 million cut announced last week for institutions enrolling large numbers of Hispanic students and other efforts supporting schools serving diverse student bodies. The White House has described such programs, some of which require a certain percentage of minority students at a college or university to qualify for funding, as illegal race-based quotas. The shift in funds comes despite a variety of Trump administration efforts criticized for harming minority students elsewhere, including a mass review of Smithsonian museums, which the White House has accused of putting a, quote, overemphasis on slavery, unquote, and scaling back the Department of Education's civil rights investigations, which were long a prominent tool in stopping racial segregation and abuse in the school system. So we're going to give millions of dollars to schools that celebrate one race or ethnicity. Okay, I guess. Despite these efforts and the White House's larger campaign to eradicate anything resembling diversity, equity, and inclusion programs, Trump has shown an interest in both terms in supporting in supporting historically black colleges and universities, institutions created during the Jim Crow era to serve black students denied education elsewhere that are now open to pupils of all races. Then why continue to celebrate one race? During his first term, Trump secured more than $250 million in annual funding for such schools and canceled repayment on hundreds of millions of dollars in federal relief loans. Seems contradictory. I would just want to get rid of the title of historically black college and university, because that's not denying the history of their origins, but it no longer is relevant. They're not defying laws that are preventing black people from going to school. And they obviously elevate and prioritize people at those schools on the basis of their race. So why are we giving them money as a reward for this? Aren't we supposed to be encouraging away from this kind of endorsement of race-based preferences? And why does that ad that's playing right next to the column here look so inappropriate? Or was it just my imagination running away with me again? Anyway, so yeah, there's your singular news story. Let's see. Jill Powers. They were started when blacks couldn't attend schools. Yes, Fisk University was originally just a school for POCs, started in 1866. General Fisk donated his Union barracks. They couldn't just disband them. Legacy Scribelight, I can tell you all about them. Okay, I get it, but there's just so many times now that I've seen these HBCUs leaning on that, okay, admittedly true historical origin, and at the same time, they seem to focus inordinately on that one race in their schools and in their programs and their advertising, their recruitment, and so on and so forth. And we hear all these students like, well, I didn't feel comfortable being on a campus where I couldn't see myself and everything. It's just like, I get it. It's not that I want to erase the past. At the same time, though, don't we have to, like, move on into the future? And should we be incentivizing more of that with more federal money. Seems contradictory to me. Advocates Diaboli, if they got rid of the HBCU part of it, they would be forgotten amongst the myriad of other schools. They never will. It does make them special. I'll give them that. I'll give it that. It is their one claim to fame. I mean, it's the one distinguishing element to a lot of schools. Like if you just say HBCU, I couldn't name for you more than maybe 2 colleges, I guess. But let's see. Fisk is 99% black, but they do accept other races. Well, I would hope they have to. Just that most shy away because people know half of them are racist and indoctrinated in hatred. Yeah, I guess that's the other part too. If you tell everybody, yeah, no, this exclusive club that's not exclusive, but it's sort of like employee resource groups. It's like, over here is the Asian American Employee Resource Group. I mean, you can join if you're not Asian American. Nothing's stopping you, but I mean, it's the Asian American Employee Resource Group. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. All right, anyway, I guess a gray area for the time being. But there's our one news story, which causes me a little bit of concern, but I guess in a way, Trump's being consistent because he was doing it in his last administration too. I wonder what the logic is there. There's a lot of assurance in that statement saying, oh, no, really, we're giving money over to places that have meritorious programs and such. Are there any other colleges that might deserve that money more? Why specifically HBCUs and or historically tribal colleges? Don't know. Can't say, won't get an answer. Also, Spoonie the Rebel, hello. Can I join the not getting paid enough to care group? Every job needs one of those. Yeah. I think that's everybody who declines from joining an ERG in the first place. Like, I'm just here to do my job and go home. Not to have like some kind of support session because, I look a particular way or something. Actually, Fisk is famous for Queen Victoria's command performance of the Jubilee Singers. Victoria said Nashville must be a very musical city, and the name for Music City stuck, not because of country. So wait a second. Nashville kowtowed to a queen? They gave in? Nashville gave in to the monarchy? Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Well, I never. Anyway, speaking of well, I nevers, I can't say that's a very good segue, but it's the best one I got. We have a couple of videos to go over. Well, one video and one podcast. So let's go over our video first. It's a brief, 3-minute long video. This is Ayanna Pressley. And Ayanna Pressley wants to tell us why diversity, equity, and inclusion is good. Let's see, what is the... diversity, equity, and inclusion is good for business, and it's good for the economy, is the tagline. Good for business and good for the economy. Well, boy, oh boy. Will Ayanna Pressley finally be the person to bring the proof, to give us a poster child, to give us a success story that shows that actually DEI does have an ROI? I don't know. Let's find out.
Women, rural communities, Black people. Equity means fair access to opportunities.
No, equity means equality of outcome. In the modern parlance and in DEI speak, equity means equality of outcome. So, there.
And inclusion means having a real pathway to the American dream.
No, inclusion means lowering standards to try to get in as many people that you prefer on an aesthetic level into the places you want them to be seen, and fill out your percentages.
No executive order from Donald Trump is going to change that, and certainly no legislation from my Republican colleagues will, but that does not stop them from trying.
Well, I mean, sideways, I agree. It's all very unnecessary because Title VI and Title VII already exist and they should just be enforced as written. The whole DEI thing is something that's been allowed to foment for so long, unbidden, that it seems like it's something good now, or seems like something defensible, except it's not. If it actually had to be put to the test of long existing civil rights laws, it never would have gotten off the ground. But it wasn't, so it did, and so here we are.
Republicans are proposing bills that would make it harder or even impossible for shareholders to increase transparency around diversity hiring and inclusive workplaces.
I want as much transparency as possible around hiring. I don't think businesses now have either the credibility or the trust not to have everything about their hiring processes be transparent as possible, because they can't be trusted. They've shown that they cannot be trusted, either in their procedures or their motivations. I want more transparency in the hiring process, so that we can make sure they're not hiring on the basis of pity, on the basis of race, on the basis of gender, on the basis of orientation, if that can be predetermined anyway.
Shareholders want this information because study after study has affirmed that diverse teams create more money for companies.
No. Okay, well, yes, studies have said so. You're going to be talking about McKinsey and Company. So, Ayanna, I even before I started this video, I said, where's the success story? Where's the poster child? Everybody and their brother for the last 9 years has been referencing studies. The data shows, the data proves it out. Diversity, equity, inclusion creates better outcomes for businesses, creates more innovative teams. And who is the golden child? Come on, give us an example. Give us an active example of a company that has demonstrably improved because of DEI, controlling for all other factors. They started DEI on January 1st, 2015, and by January 1st, 2020, their numbers went through the roof because of no other reason than DEI. By now, Ayanna, there should be a success story you can name and not an amorphous study you can refer to.
They're more innovative.
Says who?
And are better and faster at making decisions.
Says who? Where? What example do you have?
Diversity, equity, and inclusion is good for business, and it is good for the economy.
Where? And just as a note, this is not a video, this is not a clip from like 10 years ago or something, or 7 years ago. This is September 10th, 2025. She is saying the exact same things. She is making the exact same promises and assurances today that I've been hearing for 9 years. And we're almost 1 minute in to a 3-minute and 30-second clip. What are the odds, do you think, that she will name a company, a specific organization, as an example of success? What do you think the odds are?
Mr. Mueller, does Gibson, Dunn, and Crutcher value the practice of diversity and inclusion? And just a simple yes or no.
Gibson, Dunn, and Crutcher? What is a Gibson? Is that a law firm? Gibson, Dunn, Crutcher. Yeah, Gibson, Dunn, and I assume Crutcher as well. Hold on. Okay. Gibson Dunn is a leading global law firm advising clients on significant disputes and transactions around the world. Gibson Dunn. What's their diversity program? Let's see. Diversity and inclusion. I wonder how this has changed over time, if at all. Let's see. Okay. Oh, hold on. Well, you know what? I'm gonna take an aside here. I'm gonna leave that video there for a second. Apologies. We'll come back to that video in a few moments. Before we do, though, let's educate ourselves on Gibson Dunn. This is their diversity and inclusion page. Diversity overview. Gibson Dunn believes that diversity and inclusion are essential to our continued success as one of the leading law firms in the world. For more than 2 decades, the firm has been focused on building an inclusive culture that enables all to thrive. We deliver the highest quality legal services by fostering a culturally fluent, inclusive, and open environment that welcomes individuals from diverse backgrounds and perspectives to achieve Gibson Dunn's core values of excellence, fairness, and individuality. The firm is an equal opportunity employer and does not discriminate on the basis of race, color, religion, sex, national origin, age, veteran status, disability, or any other characteristic protected by applicable law. Oh, okay. Inclusion and belonging. Gibson Dunn engages with its attorneys, staff, clients, and recruits through a range of programs designed to celebrate culture and heritage, foster a sense of inclusion and belonging, and support recruiting and career development efforts, all while cultivating connection and community within and beyond the firm, Culture and heritage. They had a conversation with actor and writer Simu Liu. Shang-Chi. Let's see, Pride Month celebration, LA area Black History Month, Juneteenth, Ramadan, Holocaust Remembrance Day, Hispanic Heritage Month, Women's History Month. Golly gee whiz, okay. Affinity groups. Oh my gosh, guys, they have affinity groups. Oh, golly. Every year, we host hundreds of diversity and inclusion programs. In 2024, we hosted more than 350 events across the firm. In addition, Gibson Dunn is proud to support over 15 active firm-wide affinity groups, which host programming and activities designed to facilitate a sense of community for our attorneys. Below is a list of our affinity groups. Here we go. Okay, and I haven't looked at the list yet. I swear, I'm looking down. If the latter or last mentioned group is a veterans group, I am going to hit the psychic button. Asian American Affinity Group, Black Affinity Group, Christian Bible Studies Group, Disability Affinity Group, First Generation Professionals Affinity Group, Hispanic/Latino Affinity Group. Well, kudos for going Latino and not Latinx. Jewish Affinity Group, LGBTQ+ Affinity Group, LGBTQ+ Women's Non-Binary Affinity Group, Middle Eastern and North African Affinity Group, Muslim Affinity Group, Parenting Affinity Group, Real Estate Attorneys of Color. Okay. Real Estate Attorneys of Color, Sabbath Observant Affinity Group, Southern Asian Affinity Group, Veterans at Gibson Dunn, third before the end. I'm hitting it. Always mildly an afterthought, the veterans. And last, a Women's Affinity Group and Women of Color Affinity Group. Oh, but we don't discriminate on the basis of race. But we'll split you up amongst gender and race. It's very intersectional. We also have local affinity groups in each of our U.S. offices and many of our international offices, including our Europe, Middle East, Asia Women's Initiative. Gibson Dunn's affinity groups and their events are open to all lawyers, regardless of background. Well, then golly, why not just not have most of these and just have like a professionals group? And I mean, if you have to have a religious one, sure, Christian Bible study, there's nothing there. Okay. I don't know, but all right. Anyway, where's the Jedi affinity group? You know, if I'm part of the Jedi religion, I feel discriminated against. Anyway, okay, so Gibson Dunn is a true believer in diversity, equity, and inclusion. I'm going to make a note, because I have done videos on law firms before and their diversity initiatives. I'd be curious to find out if prior to the recent hullabaloo over DEI, if Gibson Dunn ran any programs or activities or initiatives in internships or grants or anything else that were just by chance, discriminatory. Yeah, did they like do any like hiring or anything that was a little questionable? Maybe. What's this? Okay, I might have to come back to that in the future. Anyway, let's return now to Ayanna Pressley. as we left off and see what else has to be said here about the subject.
Yes.
That's right. Do you guys promote diversity, equity, inclusion? Please give it to a yes or no answer. Yes.
Thank you. Mr. Chair, I would like to enter into the record this webpage from Gibson Dunn
Oh, was it the one that I just looked at?
entitled Diversity and Inclusion.
You know what? I didn't know that she was going to bring it up, so I'll just do it again.
Without objection.
Mrs. Keel, you are a partner at Jones Day. Does
Jones Day? Is that for everybody who's named Jones?
your firm value the practice of diversity and inclusion? Just a simple yes or no.
Yes.
Uh-huh. And so obviously, guys, because they value this, that means that it works. Because as you know, every company that has had a DEI program and advertised it and put into their prospectus and stood on it as a signal of their virtue, obviously all of those businesses that have ever had a DEI program have demonstrably and quantifiably benefited from it in a economic sense, a provable money, bottom line economic sense, which is why all these major companies have been divesting themselves of DEI programs over the last 3 years. But I mean, you know, obviously just saying that you value DEI means that DEI has value.
Thank you. Mr. Chair, I would like to enter into the record this webpage from Jones Day entitled Inclusion.
Wow. It's so exciting.
Without objection.
Without objection.
Comptroller Landard,
Comptroller Landard.
do you, as New York City Comptroller, value the practice of diversity and inclusion in your office?
In New York? Gosh, I can't imagine what the answer is going to be.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. That's great. Yeah. Uh-huh. So that obviously proves your point, guys. Obviously so. These two law firms and the comptroller in New York City, they value diversity and inclusion, which means that diversity and inclusion has value.
Thank you. Thank you for your express commitment today. I also want to commend you on your statement in February, pushing back against Trump's attacks on DEI, and I would like to enter that statement into the record.
Stunning and brave.
Without objection.
Without objection. I want that job. Can I just be the guy that just says without objection?
Now, it is really wonderful to see this type of agreement,
Yes, I'm glad you all agree.
bipartisan agreement,
Bipartisan agreement.
by Republican and Democratic witnesses here today.
Oh,
However,
however.
the fact remains that the fiscally irresponsible policies from the White House, from Republicans in Congress, are pushing people out of the workforce. Unemployment is on the rise.
Pushing people out of the workforce? You mean making the grift of DEI no longer a viable career path? Oh no. Oh no.
And black women are bearing the brunt of the job losses, but
Unemployment rises, black women most victimized.
what else is new?
Oh. Says the politician. How much do you make a year, Ayanna? How much are you going to make going forward? Poor Ayanna.
Bear the brunt of everything.
Oh, poor Ayanna.
Black workers are the last hired and the first fired.
I'll take your word for it.
The alarming spike in black women's unemployment is the canary in the coal mine.
Last hired, first fired. Really? After 10 years of DEI initiatives? Are you sure about that?
A devastating warning of where our economy is headed.
Where is our economy headed?
That is exactly why I wrote a letter to Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell calling on the Fed to do its job.
Oh. Well, Trump doesn't think the Fed's doing its job, and you don't think the Fed's doing its job. What should it be doing?
And honor their statutory mandate to promote maximum employment and address this crisis for Black women.
You want the Federal Reserve to focus specifically on employees or, job market based on race and gender? Color me surprised.
But
But
it's not just the Fed who must take action.
Oh.
The SEC must too.
oh,
Comptroller Lander, do the Republicans' proposed changes to SEC rules help or hurt transparency for shareholders?
I don't know.
They hurt transparency for shareholders.
How? I mean, if it actually does, here's the thing. I'd like as much reporting and as information as possible. Sunlight is the best disinfectant, as they say. But without them going into any detail, and I imagine that they won't because there's only 15 seconds left in this.
Thank you. We need policies that empower shareholders and protect investors.
Okay. Empower shareholders and protect investors. Well, what if it empowers shareholders to get rid of frivolous and wasteful DEI programs? What do you do then? Killer Turnus, thank you so much. I worked at Bell. 8 out of 10 employees were Black. You must be wrong. Killer Turnus, you're incorrect. Ayanna Pressley has said otherwise. You don't know what you're talking about. She's like a member of Congress. You're just a turnip or something. Thank you, Killer Turnus. Appreciate it. No. She knows all. She knows the burden that she carries because she's what she is and not who she is or the position that she holds or anything.
Diversity, equity, and inclusion matter.
Because you say so.
It's good for business.
Because you say so.
It's good for families.
Because you say so.
It's good for the economy.
Because you say so.
And the data supports it. I yield back.
The data supports it from McKinsey and Company. And not a single example given of its value. You just asked a bunch of people, do you value this? Yes. Does it have any value? It's like I've got a little I got a little trinket I've saved from a long time ago. It's kind of cheesy, but it's true. When I was in high school, at the end of every year, the last day of school, so my sophomore, junior, and senior year in high school, I would grab a rock off the ground from somewhere, at my last class or something. And I just kept it. I kept it as a little memento. Right? It's like a little point in time. And so in my little, everybody's got their little box of mementos and things. I've got 3 rocks in there. And each one represents, effectively, 1 year of my completion of high school. And I value those 3 rocks. They have a lot of meaning for me. They mean nothing to anybody else, but they mean something to me. Do they have any value elsewise? No, they're just 3 rocks. And truth be told, for as often as I look at them, if you snuck into my house and you switched out one rock with a different rock, I might not be able to tell the difference. But they have value to me. I value them, but they have no value. So that's the difference, Ayanna. And it was very, very, very interesting sort of verbal shell game you played there by saying, oh yes, no, DEI does all these things. You 3 businesses and organizations, do you value DEI? Well, yes, obviously that proves my point. Anyway, that was that. Killer Turnus, finding a job was like pulling teeth, and when I did, I was outnumbered by Black ladies. Hey, who cares? A job's a job. You got a job, more power to you. Killer Turnus, you meant Black. I thought BLK meant Black Lives. Let's not. Only 3? Well, high school was only 3 years because my schooling was split up in K through 6 And then 7, 8, and 9 was junior high. And then 10, 11, 12 was high school. That's how the split was for my education. So yeah, the last elevation before college was those 3 years in high school. So it may be different in other places. I know maybe high school starts in 9th grade or something for some people, but there you go. No, it's not a humble brag. I went through the whole gamut. I wish I'd done running start. Boy, oh boy, it saved me a lot of time and my family some money if I just done running start and gone to like some community college classes in high school. I probably could have done well. Probably saved a lot of problems. But all rocks look alike. It's true. It's true. Unless they're the rock lords. Anybody remember the transforming rocks from the 80s? Pepperidge Farm remembers. Anyway, let's move on to the last item I have, but the lengthiest item that I have, and that is a podcast. Okay, so this I got to give a little background on this one. So this comes to us from a organization called Money Marketing, and Money Marketing is an organization out of the United Kingdom. Here's their official capsule. Since launch in 1985, Money Marketing has been the #1 weekly newspaper for the independent financial advisor with the most respected journalists in the business. Money Marketing's multi-award winning team of reporters work across our weekly newspaper and daily website, offering an unrivaled news service alongside in-depth analysis and comment on market issues. All right, and so today's topic from them is D&I in financial services beyond the tick box. So even though this is, as far as I understand it, primarily concerned with the United Kingdom, I was curious to find out, at this late date, in this climate, what a bunch of financial experts, executives, and so on had to say about the subject to try to defend the continuing presence of D&I in their particular realm of business in the world. So this thing runs 44 minutes. Unless there is some compelling reason to do so, as usual, I'm only going to go for about an hour and a half of total broadcast time in real time, which gives us about just under an hour, unless there's something that really makes me want to continue listening. And by the way, this is a podcast version. There is a video version out there, but this is just the audio. There's nothing to see as far as the speakers are concerned. So, yeah, if you're listening in your car or elsewise, you're not missing anything visual. We're just going to listen in a little bit and see what they have to say. See if anything checks the box. But beyond the tick box, if you take D and I beyond the tick box, what's left? I'm not sure. I guess we'll find out. A couple more hellos here while I see people popping in. Resolute Germ, hello. K. Scholl, hello. Anybody else? Also, K. Scholl's over on the X Machine, guys. If you don't know already, I am simulcasting on the X Machine. So if you see this over on X, if you can retweet it out, I appreciate that. Blue-Eyed Scream, hello. Mr. Joestar, oh my gosh, now there's a name I have not said in a long time. Obi-Wan Kenobi. That's a name I've not heard in a long time, a very long time. Mr. Joestar. How are you doing? Long time no see. Hope everything is well. But anybody else before I move on? Oh, Amada Wolfchild is here. Amada. Hey, if you guys don't know about Amada Wolfchild, yeah, Amada and I have done a couple of collaborations in the past. You know, she was the vodka genie. Back when we were doing the Latinx video. Back when Latinx was a new thing. Yeah, Amada and I were one of the first people to take on Latinx. You can look for that in the archives. Anyway, okay, so MM Talks, not M&M Talks. That'd be a chocolatey goodness. No, MM Talks, D&I and financial services. Okay, little...
Hello and welcome to MM Talks. I'm Kimberly Dundo.
Kimberly Dundo? Crocodile Dundo?
And I'm Tom Brown.
And in today's episode, we are joined by Jim Islam and Rowan Whittington. Yes. So
those are some British names if I've ever heard British names before. That's something else. Let's see. Oh, I'm all right. I'm like a phantom, phasing in from time to time. Well, okay. Phantom Joe Star. And I'm out of Wolfslow. Hey, Scribe. Yeah, it turns out vodka is the only booze I can drink now that I found out I'm allergic to gluten. Oh, no, you're one of those. Oh, Lord. You know, I'm one of the mutants who can't eat cilantro. Thankfully, I can still eat gluten until I'm told I can't. Jim Islam. I know. James Islam. The name's Islam. James Islam. All right, so here we go. Dundo and Islam. And what was the other guy's name? Let me back up.
And Rowan Whittington.
Rowan Whittington?
Yes. So thank you both for joining us today. But I think before we get started in the full meat of this conversation.
Is that music going to be playing in the background the whole time? I'll turn off mine because I don't want it to overlap and confuse the thing. So let's turn that off.
Could you give us a bit of background into yourselves? Jim, starting?
Thank you, Kim, and hello, everyone. So I'm Jim Islam. I'm the CEO of the financial mutual One Family.
Ooh, a CEO. Okay.
One Family is an organization that actually is celebrating 50 years this year.
Ooh, half a century. One family. Is it like some kind of... No, I'm sorry. I was drifting off into Goodfellas territory.
We have 1.5 million customers, and all those customers are members of the mutual. So we are a customer-owned organization. Our origin is in children's savings.
Mm-hmm.
Children's saving? Oh, okay.
So we are the largest child trust fund provider, which means that every 1 out of 4 18-year-old since 2020 is our customer.
Wow. According to the market there. And I'm assuming we're talking in the UK? Again, I think this is all UK-based stuff.
But we also do life insurance under the Beagle Street brand. And we also have investment products such as lifetime ISAs and junior ISAs and ISAs.
Okay.
ISIS?
Great. And Rowan.
Hi, thank you for having me. I'm Rowan Whittington.
Oh, hello, Rowan Whittington.
I am Director of Product for Dynamic Planner, which is a advice tech platform working with more than 5,000 advisors through.
Ooh, I could be an advice tech platform. Anybody want some advice? I can't promise it'll do you any good, but I'll give it.
The UK, we work with more than 2 million customers over the years on kind of risk profiling, cash flows, all of your classic advice tools. But we also provide an engagement platform for end clients, and we work really closely with asset managers to make sure that our systems are built on a really intelligent and sensible asset.
Wow, a lot of high-level executives so far. I thought this was going to be like DEI consultants and stuff. No, we got the insider super executives at these businesses.
Framework. So Dynamic Planner's been going for more than 20 years. And I joined just shy of a year ago as Director of Product to focus on making sure that our systems and controls grow with the ever-changing environment that we have in the regulation and in the market.
That sounds very generalized, but who knows, corporate speak, and we don't have much time.
Our tech keeps up with what people need from us, and advisors are knocking on our door asking us for more and more, and we're very pleased to provide it.
Okay, fantastic. So this conversation, which will be all around diversity and inclusion.
Yay, diversity and inclusion. No equity, apparently.
Such an easy topic to talk about, honestly.
It is? Well, I mean, I think it is at this point. I think I'm fairly practiced at it.
Was inspired by a weekend essay that I'd written about a couple months ago, which was also inspired by the DEI initiatives in the US being scrapped.
Scrapped is a mini splendored thing in the US, but I mean, that's the hope. So DEI being opposed quite vehemently here in the United States inspired you to write an article that inspired you to have this conversation. Okay.
Essentially.
Essentially.
And I just wanted to kind of delve into how that might affect the diversity and inclusion initiatives in the UK, because quite a few companies in the UK have their parent companies based in the US and whether that might have an effect.
Well, admittedly, I'm not an expert in United Kingdom law. I don't know. I believe they have laws that are similar to or parallel enough to things like Title VI or Title VII in the realm of not discriminating on the basis of race, gender, et cetera, for the sake of employment. But I don't know the particulars. So I guess we'll find out what they think D&I over there is supposed to do and whether that jives with American law.
So I guess to start off this conversation, I wanted to ask you both what your thoughts are. Since the US has walked back its DEI initiatives, have you noticed a shift in perspective in the UK market at all?
And let's remember, the walking back of DEI initiatives did not begin with Donald Trump's reelection. I want to keep underlining this because the trend was already beginning before then, primarily because of the affirmative action decision back in the summer or late spring, let's say, of 2023. It was already in process, and in fact, several entities had already started withdrawing from DEI before then in late 2022. But I digress.
I think so. I read your essay. I thought it was brilliant.
Oh, thank you.
Obviously, we're all in the room for a reason. We care about diversity and inclusion.
Mm-hmm.
I really resonated with the idea that there were some people who went, "Oh, great! I don't have to do this anymore."
Because it is a chore, isn't it? Trying to be actively walking on eggshells all the time or actively discriminating against people.
And those people were already doing their initiatives as a tick box exercise. They were the wrong people for us to be asking to do that because they didn't want to do it in the first place.
Why? Now, here's where the rubber's going to meet the road and whether we're having an honest conversation. Why didn't they want to do it in the first place? Or what is their theory on why they didn't want to do it in the first place? And how do they assess those reasons? Or are they just going to say, oh, you just weren't on board with our brand of discrimination or something, and you're having to do it because you're made to? All right, let's distinguish between a true believer and someone who's just there to do their job.
But I've actually had some really positive conversations, not only at Dynamic Planner, but with some of our partners and with some of our asset managers about their almost doubling down on their initiatives and saying, no, this is actually important to us. We recognize that this has positive business output.
How? Same question I rhetorically asked Ayanna Pressley. What positive output? Quantify that. Demonstrate it.
We recognize that our staff value this. We recognize that this is important to the sustainability of our ecosystem and our industry.
Why? Or has it been forced for so long onto businesses that the people that they've hired specifically because they already are true believers in this? So if you're just preaching to the choir and you decide to change the sheet music, are they going to run away? Or is the business not capable of functioning without people who are true believers in this one thing, which, again, I have yet to see any proof actually brings any real success to a business?
Not just for the flowery, it feels nice, but also because there's genuine impact. So,
genuine impact. Okay, again, and I'm sorry for pausing all the time, but I have to pause because of YouTube, but also because every time they say something like this, I want to point out, they keep saying it has a positive outcome or impact. When do they show it?
I think for those people who've taken the opportunity to opt out, great. Stop paying lip service. You know, the cynic in me says, great, we don't want you. You're not. You didn't want to do it in the first place. You weren't doing a very good job. People who worked for you were feeling that it was disingenuous. Right. So actually, thank you for stopping lying about doing this.
Wow. Okay. You are unwanted. You are exiled. You weren't a real believer. You were a pretender. Go away. Okay, well, you still have to describe what is their objection and how are they wrong.
Yeah.
But the ones who've kind of jumped at the opportunity to reiterate that, I think have been even stronger. And I think it's been a bit of a moment for the UK market to assert its own thoughts and its own opinions on D&I. And some new green shoots coming out of it, I think.
Okay.
I can't wait to be given some examples.
And Jim, your perspective on this, because I know it's something that you are passionate about, D&I. So
absolutely. I think first of all, we just have to recognize the tremendous progress that's been made.
Okay. Describe it.
I think it's so foundational now that I think things have progressed so much. I mean, if you look at a representation of women on boards, from a quarter 10 years ago to 45%.
Representation on boards from a quarter to 45%. Okay. Were people placed on boards simply because of their gender? Do you mark that as progress?
Representation of ethnic minority. So we have minorities as well. So
how did you achieve this representation? By what mechanism did this representation come about?
I think we have to recognize the great progress that's been made. Clearly, there's more that needs to be done.
Right.
Of course, because it's a never-ending process of discriminating your way towards bigger number better, I guess. Yep, it's me. Hi, all. Off to replay land for me. Have a terrific day, all. Well, when you catch up to this, yep, it's me. Hello from the future. Or the past. Kelly Hans. Hello. Kelly Hahn, any relation to Goldie Hawn? I guess that's Han, not Hans. Hans and Franz? No, sorry. I don't know. Amada, my oldest boy is also allergic, and he is devastated every time he finds out something he likes is off the menu, like pizza and anything breaded and sandwiches. He is pissed about it. Oh, man. That sucks. Yeah, like there's like a fundamental element to all the yummy stuff out there. It's like, you're not allowed. It's going to give you a problem. Oh, man. It's like I can almost never eat Mexican food now because invariably something has cilantro in it. And as soon as that smell hits my senses, it just, even without tasting it, I can tell there's cilantro in something from a mile away. It's just, I can't even go near it. Yuck. Icky poo yucky.
But the benefits are so tangible that I don't think that organizations can just ignore it.
Like?
Whether it is about understanding customer needs, whether it's about winning talent, whether it's about innovation.
Understanding customer needs, talent, innovation. How?
Whether it's about motivation, all those elements, they are so well embedded in the organization. And I look at my own organization.
Yeah, okay, your own organization, all right, success stories.
And the role that it plays in terms of delivering better service, but all...
How do you... It's go straight back to the Chuck Todd TEDx from last week. How does it deliver better service? Compare and contrast. What were your services quality like prior to DEI, and how is it after DEI? And how do you compare the two? How is it improved? What specifically about diversity and inclusion improved your services? Please.
Also how we think about things.
What?
I just think that there is a momentum there which is going to take us forward.
Yeah.
And I don't think any sort of, obviously there will be some curveballs along the way, but there have always been, but I think it's important.
Okay, name a curveball. What are you talking about?
Important that we recognize that it is so critical.
I can't recognize how critical it is until you tell me what the world was like without it, and now what the world is like with it, and how one led to the other.
In particular, when we look at Gen Z and millennials, I think when we are doing recruitment, and we've done our own research on this, and 80% of Gen Z and millennials, and there are no surprises there, they would look at purpose, values, culture as a key determinant of the organizations they want to join.
Oh my gosh, do you mean Gen Z and millennials who have been raised in an academic environment that has pounded over and over into their brains the idea that identity politics is the best thing ever and the most important thing to pay attention to? Are you telling me that an entire generation of kids who have been indoctrinated into this nonsense are going to go along with you? Oh, well, golly gee whiz, I guess it must be good then, huh?
So do we want to win talent?
Talent? Talent? What talent? D&I is not about talent. It's about representation. You said so yourself. Do you want to win talent? Ugh.
Do we want to be commercially successful?
I don't know. Do you want to be commercially successful? And if you want to be commercially successful, why are you wasting money on D&I?
Mm-hmm.
And if you want to do that, then there's no turning back here.
Yeah.
I suppose if you take an entire generation who have been told by schools and the academy and politicians that identity is paramount, and then you have companies that try to cater to that mindset, they try to cater to the employees by adopting a identity politics mindset, which is also how they get most of their money and funding and backing by the financial institutions like BlackRock and Vanguard and, the World Economic Forum and elsewise. And then it seems like, well, gosh, I guess one justifies the other. So like a foregone conclusion. One of the, oh gosh, well, self-fulfilling prophecy, confirmation bias, running your business. I guess it all makes sense, doesn't it? I mean, we're being told by our employees that what we're doing is the correct thing to do. So we're going to keep on doing it because it's the only way to attract the talent of employees who are pre-programmed to want and only value those things that we have to then pay lip service to, whether they actually make us money or not.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think it's in a way, I don't. A part of me just doesn't understand the controversy. I mean, who would not be in favor of diversity and inclusion? And
you don't understand the controversy. I'd like to sit down and talk with this guy.
And I think what Kim's essay sort of prompted in me a bit. Very good essay. I'll add.
Oh, it's a very good essay. Oh.
I'll add to the praise. But it got me thinking. So, how have we come to this point where there's been this kind of like in certain quarters attempted rollback on diversity and inclusion?
Do you really not either understand or take any time to look up what the objections are? I mean, whether you agree with them or not, if you're going to call yourself some kind of industry professional and especially focusing and cheering on D&I, you have to at least listen to what the opposition is and assess what their objections are and either, find something that you can try to counter it with or at least acknowledge that there is a concern. You're not going to tell me that there is absolutely nothing wrong or objectionable within diversity and inclusion. That is a perfect system in all ways, shape, or form, are you?
And I think, I mean, on the one hand, you've got sort of malevolent actors like Trump or, other. I'll put my political cards on the table.
Okay. So there is no reasoned objection to D&I that you can name. Nothing that's outside politics, but just as a matter of sort of basic fairness that you could name. It's all just bad because Trump doesn't like it.
Who are, I think sort of badly motivated and are weaponizing it as a sort of an issue to push back in general against sort of liberal values.
Excuse me, who's weaponizing what? Who's so you think that DEI or D&I has not been both a sword and a shield for the last decade by the liberal left-wing contingent in this world to try to fight back against what they classified as anything right of center or even right of left, being racist, sexist, homophobic, and so on? That DEI itself is not a weapon used to, quote-unquote, right historical wrongs, unquote. Okay. I'm hoping that this guy's going to give us something where he's more aware of reality than it sounds like he is, because right now he doesn't sound like someone acting in good faith.
But then I suppose there are another cohort who I don't know, through maybe miscommunication or misunderstanding, have got into a sort of bit of a defensive crouch around this issue.
Oh, yes. We're all just confused. We've all just gotten the wrong messaging. Yeah, a decade of listening to the DEI advocates and defenders. Yeah, I've gotten the wrong messaging.
And I think that's really where, I'd like to see a change in the conversation, because I was chatting to Jim just off mic and sort of saying that it's got caught up in a sort of a broader culture war where it really didn't need to at all.
It did. You got DEI welcomes the culture war. It's the dividing line of the culture war. You just heard one of your own panelists say you're either on the right side of the equation or you're on the wrong side. If you're not 100% behind D&I, goodbye, no thanks. We're happy to lose you. Are you even listening to yourselves? Also, who's this I see in the chat? It's Satsu 2 Cents, or Chef Tyrone, as you may know him as. And let me tell you, if you don't know about Chef Tyrone, this is my friend Satsu, aka Chef Tyrone, founder, owner, and CEO of Oishi Fried Chicken LLC, featuring a new line of signature spice mixes. Chef Tyrone's homemade blends are the perfect gateway to delicious fried chicken or any other protein you might prefer. These recipes were painstakingly tested in Tyrone's home kitchen to bring you all the fantastic flavors you and your family can enjoy. The current flavor lineup includes original, spicy, lemon garlic herb, barbecue rub, and taco seasoning. You can buy individual packs of your favorite flavors or save some money with a variety bundle, all through the online store. And Oishi Fried Chicken ships nationwide. Go to www.oishifc.com and order today. Yes, guys, that was no joke. That was a real ad for my friend Satsu. And, as may satisfy many of you out there, Amada asks, Satsu, are your blends gluten-free? Yes. So, there you go. So check that out. And hi, Satsu. As far as I know, well, if ever there was a professional endorsement. I mean, as far as I know, Amada's stomach will be the true test.
And I think maybe part of it is around perception and language. I mean, you take an issue like a phrase like unconscious bias.
Ooh, yes. Let's take a phrase like unconscious bias.
Mm-hmm. And I think a lot of people, and they might be quite liberal-minded people, sort of interpret that as, oh, I'm accused of being a racist, but I don't realize it.
Yeah.
That's what unconscious bias classically is used for in the DEI space. It is to say that there are people that are just reflexively discriminatory, mostly white people, mostly men, mostly straight white men. And we have to make sure that that obvious discrimination, which obviously exists in people, obviously because of what they look like, obviously, has to be policed, has to be forced and mechanized out of the process by imposing our preferred bias consciously to counter the overwhelming force of the unconscious bias we know is there, because look at those percentages in the demographic split of your workforce. And
thing, which is not really what it means at all.
That's exactly what it means. That's exactly what it means. It's exactly what it means in practice. Oh my gosh, 8 minutes into this thing, and these guys are living in Never Never Land. They are so very British. They're on their Sentinel Island, away from any other input, away from any other perspectives. They talk about diversity and that they've got tunnel vision on everything they are doing is correct, and anybody who says otherwise is obviously a bad actor and a malefactor. Good gravy.
It's basically saying it's more a preference bias. It's more that we all have, through our upbringings and our environments that we work in and grow up in, we all have preferences.
That's not what unconscious bias is used for in this context. Come on.
Whether we're aware of them or not. And it doesn't necessarily be malevolent or
No, but it could be a microaggression.
prejudicial.
Yeah.
But we should recognize that we do have those preferences.
Okay, if everybody has those preferences, can anybody be trusted to have the correct assessment of value? Huh?
And do stuff to sort of like correct them.
Correct, because they're obviously wrong. Everybody's got them, and they're obviously wrong. Even though we're not sure if they have them, we just assume that they do, so we're going to create systems and mechanisms to correct for the assumed biases. And how do you know those biases exist again?
And I don't know. I sometimes wonder whether to sort of try and regain ground away from this kind of like D&I backlash, whether there's something more than we can do to open up those conversations to make it stop people having that sort of almost allergic reaction against it that you get in some quarters. I don't know how much that resonates with the review.
Well, you already had your fellow panelists say that if somebody has an objection or hesitation regarding D&I, that they are no longer welcome. They're not being genuine. They're just being performative. So goodbye, we don't miss you. You don't want to have a conversation, because to have a conversation would risk compromise. To have a conversation would risk having someone challenge your inherent goodness, which you've already accepted is obviously true. And you can't have that. Every single person on this panel so far has shown that they couldn't stand a world where their morals are questioned on this subject. Because if their morals are questioned on this subject, given the subject matter and the gravity of what they're doing and what they're implying, they would be the bad guys.
None of us want to inherently recognize a privilege that we might have.
Yeah.
None of us want to recognize inherently privilege. Okay. So you assume then, so who is it that you assume has that mentality, and on what basis do you assume they possess it, might I ask? Would it be their race or gender by any chance?
We all think that someone else has it better than us. So when it's being suggested to you that you might be in the position you're in,
if it's being suggested to you that you're just an unconfessing racist, sexist, or otherwise,
because of privileges that you haven't acknowledged or you aren't aware of.
Privilege I'm not aware of, but you're going to tell me that I possess. You, an outsider who doesn't know anything else about me than what I look like, you're going to tell me the quality and the character of my upbringing, my own livelihood, my own life experience.
The natural response is to be defensive.
Yeah.
Okay. So you understand why people might be a little bit hesitant to accept an accusation of inherent wrongdoing simply for being what someone is and not necessarily for anything that they've done.
People want to think, no, I worked hard and I got there. And obviously that's 95% of the time is what happened.
Is it though? Well, if it's 95% of the time is what happened, then why do you have a default assumption of privilege?
But the flip side of that is...
I like there was a long pause there. The flip side of that is, 95% of the time, it's probably true that you did earn your place. And so if you're accepting that as the majority of people's life experience, what foothold do you have?
95% of the time is what happened. But the flip side of that is I get people in my career still who, and very early in my career especially, I had people saying, you're only, the head of that or the lead of that or in this senior leadership group because you're a woman.
Okay, and what, pray tell, kind of initiative or ideology would allow for that suspicion to exist? I know, it's a trick question, right? What do you think might have put into the minds of people the suspicion that you might have gotten your job, you might have been put into a position of authority simply on the basis of your gender? What do you think might have contributed to that?
You know, you couldn't possibly be experienced enough or smart enough or kind of academically gifted enough.
Well, I mean, what does D&I do? It takes pity on people on the basis of their race and or their gender, or vilifies people on the basis of their race and or their gender. And in the first instance, puts people into positions they might not necessarily be qualified for in order to fill out the demographic split and make things look good. And therein lies the problem. You could have somebody who is completely qualified outside of their appearance for the job, for the position. And yet, if there is a program or an initiative in place that everybody knows favors people for opportunities and promotions on the basis of what they look like, you cannot blame them for having suspicions because it's institutionalized discrimination. And everybody knows it because you guys are so proud of it. You don't get it, do you?
Or data literate enough for you to be able to be in this room in your 20s. You must be.
Well, you assume that people have inherent privileges, right? You assume that people have inherent privileges they may not be aware of, but you need to account for. And yet, when someone else believes that you have been provided an inherent privilege, now they're wrong and you're a victim. Are you even listening to yourself?
A diversity hire. And if my response to them was, well, you couldn't possibly be any of those things. You must be here because you look like everybody else.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. And so how do we reach a point where that kind of suspicion ends up being on an individual level and not at an institutional level? Oh, that's right. Maybe we should do away with programs and initiatives that explicitly preference people on the basis of their race or their gender. Neener, I know you are, but what am I? This is where we're at.
It creates a friction.
Yes.
And I would never respond like that.
Oh, you would never respond like that. No, you're just thinking it the whole time. Obviously, because you know that they were hired because of what they look like. I couldn't have been hired for what I looked like. Obviously, I've earned my place. I can't have any empathy for somebody else that I'm also accusing the exact same thing on the flip side now that I'm the victim of something or someone has injected doubt into me whether or not I got this job legitimately or not or because someone took pity on me. No, you're the bad guy, I'm the good guy.
But it does create that friction. So I guess if you're, I recognize that I have a lot of privileges.
Oh, you do? Okay, so when somebody says you got hired because you're a woman, they're not necessarily wrong?
I do have certain traits and things about me that often put me into a kind of marginalized groups.
Well, no, they don't put you in a marginalized group. You just talk about privileges. So what traits? Your being female in a D&I environment is not a benefit in and of itself?
Mm-hmm. But there are people who have more of those or less of those. And
intersectionality, right.
And I have to recognize my privilege, and that's really hard. But
how do you walk down the street? I always wonder about these things. If someone is a true believer in this stuff and they're constantly assessing themselves in comparison to somebody else, not on the basis of who they are, but what they look like and how they can assess somebody simply on an aesthetic level, on and on and on, how do you possibly walk down the street every day and interact with anyone in a normal fashion? Are you constantly having to apologize to somebody because you assume they are in a lesser position than you because of what they look like or how you interpret what they look like? Are you snide to others who you assume are on a higher level of existence than you because obviously they've had it all good and they didn't have to work for it, but you obviously did? How do you function? How does the mind work that's constantly having to walk on mental eggshells around everyone and everything, feeling, in one instance, proud and righteous about your accomplishments, but also have to feel lowly and terrible because someone else has it worse than you, obviously because they're a different skin color or something? I mean, what? It must be exhausting, absolutely exhausting to have to live this way.
But when you when you have at least one or two or three things where you can go, yeah, I resonate that has held me back, it is easier.
One or two or three things that have held you back. What do you, what?
It's easier to have that conversation. So
man, I would love to have a conversation with this lady. I really would. I would love to be able to try to break it down. I wonder if she would entertain sitting down, virtually or otherwise, with somebody who is on, let's just be honest, the opposite side of the spectrum on this subject. Is that a conversation she'd be willing, an actual conversation?
So, when I was younger, I used to say, you can't be what you can't see.
Yeah. You can't be what you can't see. That's why there have been no female astronauts. It's true. Yeah. I mean, the first astronauts were men, and there could be no female astronauts. The first person to do something means that's it. That's locked in. There can't be anybody else to do that thing. The imagination stops. Aspirations just quit. That's the way it works.
You can't want to become something if you don't know that there are other people doing that.
You can't want to become something if there aren't other people doing that. Okay.
And I flippantly used to think, that's really silly.
Well, how can you say that? How could you possibly say that's silly? Wait, what?
But actually, if I look back over my career, the people who have really supported me and who have really inspired me have often been people like me.
So you have seen people that... What do you mean like you? What's the threshold for like you in this instance?
And it's the same in hiring practices. We inadvertently hire people like us because we like them. We get on with them. We relate to them. We think.
You mean like us as in they are a clone, or like us as in, hey, here's someone who's also an industry professional like I am, and they have a grasp of the situation or the education or the task at hand? What is your threshold for like? What do you assume to know about the mentality of others that somehow you yourself are free of?
Oh, they think like me, they're like me. And that's not necessarily a bad thing.
If it's not necessarily a bad thing, why are you talking about it like it's a demarcation? Or sorry, a demerit, pardon me. My vocabulary is getting away with me here. This is just, God, this is so frustrating.
But in a professional environment, it can lead to rooms full of people who all think the same, or rooms full of people who all do the same thing.
You're in financial services. If everybody there is not an accountant of some kind or another, I would be wary of the services you provide.
And I guess.
Okay, so because something could happen, you need to police it by forcing people to not do the thing they're comfortable with in order to satisfy what? Your imposed paranoia? Your imposed virtuous policing? You need to have this happen so that something that could happen doesn't. You have to be preemptive of what you assume to know about somebody else's way of thinking, because your perspective is obviously the right one.
I guess all that to say, Tom, I completely agree that people are defensive because they do feel like they're being told, well, you're only here because you're a white man.
Uh-huh. And so when someone says you're only here because you're a woman, you can empathize with that notion. And so being reduced down to one component that is not representative or has anything to do with your skills and abilities is kind of demeaning, isn't it? And also to assume to know the mindset or the outcome of decision-making of someone based on what they look like. Do you think that might also be a little bit diminishing? But no, you have to make sure that not the same people gather in the same place or something. Because obviously they're the same people because they look passingly similar.
You couldn't possibly be good at your job because of that.
Yeah.
and so you naturally go, oh, it's not that. And I do it too. And we all have to be more open to the idea that it's not really about us. It's about the systems around us.
You mean the systems like D&I that reduce everybody down to race and gender? Maybe if we got rid of that system.
And what the world that's been created around us, and it's been created by a lot of straight white men 150 or 200 years ago.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. You make absolutely no sense. You have no idea what you're talking about, do you? This lady has switched back across her own argument like 4 times now. She has nowhere to go. Because every time she follows a logical train of thought through what she's advocating for, she hits an obvious brick wall and has to double back with an example that just proves the problem again, but still trying to justify it. Imagine trying to live inside that mindset on a regular day, doing regular things, interacting with people in the most mundane fashion. And all of this is churning in your head the entire time. Every time you encounter a person, how do you address them? How do you interact with them? How do you assess them in your personal little world bubble? Good gravy.
And we're still unpicking some of that, and especially in financial services. We're not completely behind. There are many industries who have worse D&I issues than financial services, but there are also many that have better. And I'm lucky to work in the kind of fintech space, so the financial services plus the tech.
Yeah.
And tech is one of the industries that...
Financial services plus the tech. Yeah, financial services plus the tech has been there since the abacus. What? Jeez Louise. Frosted Glass, you're unqualified. Well, so are you. Got him. Yeah, exactly. Gotcha, bitch. Yeah. It's like, ha! Checkmate, you sexist, racist, which I'm totally not.
Has had a lot of progress, and I don't really know why that is. I think probably because is a relatively new industry, so it doesn't have the legacy of that. But also,
fintech is a relatively new industry. Okay, maybe my sort of vision of what fintech is completely off, because is there anything in finance that's happening today that wasn't already happening just with bigger computers earlier? I understand that money transference and cryptocurrency and everything has changed some of the ways people do certain things, but the fundamentals haven't changed all that much, have they? People being able to day trade, for an example, doing from their home what stock traders had to do from an office or from an exchange or something in the past. Okay, sure, making certain things that were far more complex easier, but the mechanisms are the same, right?
Also, there have been some really deliberate D&I, get women into STEM, get people from marginalized backgrounds into STEM.
Yeah, like almost artificially, or even if they're not ready for such things, but simply because they look the part, right?
Oh, this is a really good opportunity for neurodivergent brains because it works like this. I think
neurodivergent brains because it works like this. Well, at least in the brain sense, you're talking about somebody's skills and abilities, and you're not talking about their surface level qualities.
It has been quite an interesting flagship in seeing how it can work.
What?
So fintech is an interesting
intersection.
Yeah.
Are you guys just going to be stroking yourselves off this? I assume you are, because you don't have anybody on the panel with a contrary viewpoint.
And I definitely made the choice when I moved to Dynamic Planner from a much more tech environment. I used to work for Confused.com. I moved to Dynamic Planner, and one of the only reasons I did it is because of our stats. I was like, look, 48% of women in the leadership team, 37% in the executive management team. 26% of people at Dynamic Planner come from a different country or are hit on work visas, working in different ways.
And tell me something. What does any of that have to do with quality of performance, skill set, education, or personal character? She is so focused on the aesthetics. She is so sold on the idea that it's the look that matters. Is she going to quote any statistics regarding, customer satisfaction or company growth, or quality of services, anything like that?
We've got young people, we've got older people, we've got a mix of people. We've got
oh my gosh, it slices, it dices, it julienne's fries.
3% people, 6% of people who kind of identify as having disability.
Not one single percentage that she's quoted so far has anything to do with job performance, quality of services, customer satisfaction, or business performance and growth. Nothing.
A percentage that I can't remember of kind of...
It's amazing you remember those, although given your predilections, I suppose it's not that amazing.
Errors and people who are providing different support. And I genuinely... The only reason I looked at Dynamic Planner was because of the stats. And then I went and said, look at all of this other brilliant stuff.
Yeah.
But
so your first filtration for choosing the company to which you sought employment was the surface level aesthetics of the workforce. You are the perfect diversity and inclusion advocate. Absolutely perfect. What's under the surface? Doesn't matter. Does it look the part? Does it please my aesthetic requirements for race, gender, etc.? Everything after that is, at best, a secondary consideration, but given all the different categories that she listed, it's like 6th or 7th on the list. Guys, we are approaching an hour and a half in real time, and I've heard more than I really want to right now from this group, but it is interesting all the same. For the record, I'm at 1412 on the podcast. Should I continue this in a future stream? Should we listen to some more of this for our own edification? Do a little chunk next time on the next DEI Deathwatch or otherwise? Let me know in the comments below. Abacus Diablo, you say neurodivergent. I say clinically insane. Let's call the whole thing off. That's possible. Abacus again. All of our percentages have just been estimations anyway. True. Frosty Glass, this podcast has more self-stroking than a sperm bank. Ayo! And it certainly is a grind, says the moist tree rat. There you go. I'm out of Wolfchild. Only if you want to let your brain melt as badly as hers, LOL. Well, whether it's a point of masochism or not, I say to myself, how I try to rationalize all this, these are industry professionals and executives in authority in a important sector of our world right now. This podcast was recorded all of like a week ago or something. And if nothing else, they are reflective of the mindset of people that are operating in places that affect our lives. And since it's the UK, and these are dyed-in-the-wool professionals in this industry and in this mindset, there's a very good chance that a lot of what they think and a lot of the ways that they try to justify what they're doing are probably held by a lot of people in America who may not feel like they can really promote this stuff anymore since finally some laws are starting to catch up with this stuff. So I'd like to think that it's a little bit of a message in a bottle from across the pond as to what's still out there and still has to be, people have to be aware of as DEI, at least on the surface, is on the downslide, but not necessarily going away, if that makes sense. But we fought a whole ass war to not have to care what people in the UK think ever again. Again, it's not so much what they think, but what that mindset represents and how they feel more currently, because they're not having the kind of backlash over there that they are over here. They can be more open and be more promoting of this stuff than a lot of companies over here are right now. So I think that's what I tell myself. Frosted Glass, this is why they think we're evil. They genuinely don't understand what we think. Meanwhile, I could write a Medium article, no problem. A dying gnat could write a Medium article, no problem. No offense. because the threshold for Medium articles is like the threshold for a TEDx talk. Put your hand on the back of your neck. Is it warm? You're in. But yeah, no, go ahead. Totally. Okay, guys. Well, that is where the show is going to be for now. Yeah, let me know in the comments or over on the Discord server if you think I should subject myself or yourselves to some more of that podcast from our friends in the UK. Link to the Discord server is in the chat right now. If you'd like to join the Discord server, just click on that link. You'll find yourself on the landing channel called Say Hello. And in addition to saying hello, you just have to say the secret word. The secret word will tell me that you actually watched the stream, are not a bot, and have thus earned the right, the privilege, the entitlement to join the Discord server. And today's secret word is crikey. I know that's more of an Australian thing. But for some reason, when I'm talking or listening to UK people talk, that's so just say, hello, crikey, and I'll know that you watch the show. If you'd like to, creatively spell the word crikey to get across the accent too, that's also acceptable. Programming note, I should be, unless something comes up, on the Midnight's Edge in the morning stream tomorrow, Wednesday morning at 9:05 a.m. Pacific time, noon 05 p.m. Eastern time. Where we'll talk about movies and entertainment news and all types of other stuff as that goes. And then Thursday at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern will be another episode of TED Excellence. We'll take a look at another off-brand TED Talk. Will this next episode be claimed for copyright, as was the last one with Chuck Todd, because TEDx apparently didn't like that I let it run too long in a spot or something. Oh well, it happens from time to time. It wasn't a strike, just a copyright claim. It happens. Oh well. Yay, TEDx. They made probably all of 3 cents off of me. I hope those 3 cents go towards another Chuck Todd talk. Anyway, everybody, thank you for joining me. Moderators, thank you for keeping an eye on things, even though everyone here is so well behaved. You have very, very little to do. Everybody who donated, either to myself or, guys, at the top of the chat box, the Leukemia Lymphoma Society, link there. Please take a look at that or share it if you're able. And otherwise, everybody, thank you for joining me. Everybody, have a good rest of your Tuesday. Hope you have a good rest of your week. Otherwise, hope you're all safe and well. If you're not well, please get well soon, and I'll see you on the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.